So in today's English lesson, we're going to be looking at modal verbs. Now, we learnt a little bit about modal verbs. It's in year 5. It's a year 5 objective. So this is just a very, very quick recap. If it's too quick for you, watch this more than once. But hopefully this should be fairly straightforward. So, as it says on screen, modal verbs can have many uses. They're sometimes known as modal auxiliary verbs or just modals. In most cases, they work with another verb to describe the possibility of something happening or to describe what degree of certainty something is known. So it's all about possibility or how certain something is. So look at the sentences below that contain modal verbs. Now, the modal verbs are underlined in these sentences. So the Rounders team could win the tournament, or Humpty Dumpty will fall off the wall. In those sentences, you can see the degree of possibility or how likely something is to happen. The Humpty Dumpty one, it's almost 100%, isn't it? He will fall off the wall. Whereas the Rounders team, well, the possibility there, it's not 100% certain. They could win it, but by saying they could, it means they also might not. So on screen here we have a group of the most common modal verbs. If you ever come across a SATs question and they want you to insert a modal verb into the sentence, obviously they'll want you to spell it correctly, but these are the ones that we would most likely want you to choose from. So you've got might, could, would, must, may, will, ought, can, should and shall. You can also use the negative forms of these words as modal verbs. So for example, the frog might not become a prince. You could say could not, would not, must not, will not, and so on. So you can use the negative form and they would be modal verbs together. Modal verbs can also give commands or the obligation for you to do something. So very often teachers or parents will use modal verbs quite a lot in their day. You must come back home now. You must not do that ever again. You will tidy your room. These are all things that you will have heard before. And without realising it probably, we use modal verbs very often throughout the day. Try and think of some other sentences that you might have used today or your parents might have used that contain modal verbs. Modal verbs can also express the ability to do another verb. So in the first sentence there, the verb is sing. The modal verb is can. I can sing beautifully. Or in this case below, I cannot ride a skateboard. So it tells you how well someone can do one of the other verbs in the sentence. Expresses their ability to be able to do it or not, as the case may be. So on this page is a very, very common SATs style question. And all it requires you to do is to read the sentence on the left and tick one of the boxes, either in the centre or on the right. So does the modal verb in each sentence show certainty or possibility? Tick one box in each row. So I will complete my homework this evening. Does that show certainty, like it's definitely going to happen, or does it indicate possibility? My football team might win the league this year, and Akio can do tricks on his skateboards. Can you have a go at those now? And then the answers are on the next slide, so make sure you pause this video here. Alright, so hopefully you read those through and had a little go yourselves. So as we can see from the first sentence, I will complete my homework this evening. Well, that's showing certainty, isn't it? There's no sort of wiggle room there. You are going to do it. My football team might win the league this year. Now, although you might want them to, and you might want it to be certain, actually, you can't really be certain of anything like that, especially if you're an Everton fan. So that indicates possibility. And then the final sentence, Akio can do tricks on his skateboard. Well, he can do tricks. So that's quite certain there, isn't it? So hopefully you will have got those right. What I'd like you to do before you go on to the next part, your task, write another sentence, just one more, that contains a modal verb that shows possibility. So we've got 2 sentences on your screen that show certainty and only one that shows possibility. try and write another one. Now if you need to scroll back, because we had a slide on this PowerPoint that actually shows a number of modal verbs you can use, choose one of those and write a sentence with that word in. Alright then, so your task today, very similar to yesterday. Quite simply, we just want you to open up the SPAG activity sheet that you can see on your page and have a go at those questions. Again, they're all questions that could appear on the SATs, so have a good go at them. Again, be resilient, don't give up. You are fantastic. You've been fantastic the rest of the week. Spelling the words correctly is crucial, so make sure you really pay attention at doing that. Have a good go at this, and then there are adults online to help you if you do get stuck.